I know you all are concerned, but it's adding another level of stress on her. I agree that it's not an excuse, but I feel like the temperature has really been high when it comes to Mia, because
Mia has done a lot.
So is Mia.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 9, Episode 13. And before we get started today, first things first, Happy New Year, everybody. It is 2025. This year already feels good. Like, I'm feeling all the blessings. I feel so much gratitude. We made it. And I am just ecstatic. New year, fresh start, but we still have to talk about the mess with these housewives, all right? Because it's the same old when it comes to these ladies. Now, it's no shade, but it's a sad day when Ashley Darby is making sense. That's when I know it's time for Mia and Jacqueline to go. Because when Ashley is clocking your tea and telling you that you're out of line, we've got some problems. Now, Miss Mia, come to the front, because all throughout this episode, I kept saying, this is Mia's last season on this show. Mia, you are trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip to try and get the audience to side with you, and we're not buying what you're selling. And Mia, everything about you is contrived and phony, because you announcing on New Year's Day that you and Ink have broken up, and then alluding that you and Gordon might be reconciling. Stop it. The timing isn't lost on me, because you guys filmed the reunion this Thursday. And if you and Ink have broken up, that leads to Andy asking you about the breakup and you possibly coming back on the show next season. But like I've been saying, the viewers are not interested in what you have to show us. Jacqueline, I don't understand the purpose that you serve being on this show. Why are you here? Every time you open your mouth, it's always about Mia. Girl, shut up. We don't need you as her mouthpiece. But y'all, let me not jump ahead. Let's just get right on into it, because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. So we open up this episode with Mia and Jacqueline, and I'm not gonna hold you guys. The first 5 minutes of this episode, I did not care. And may I say, Mia is a horrible actress. She's talking about, oh, I'm about to have a panic attack. I said, girl, shut up. So Mia's going on, and she says that the objective right now is to find out where her kids are, or else she has to get on a plane and find her kids. And I said, well, girl, do us all a favor and get on the plane and find your kids then, because I don't want to see you on this trip. So once again, we have Mia throwing Gordon under the bus to make him look as unstable as possible. So she says that it's a control issue with Gordon, because since he lost his business and he lost her, he now wants to control the kids. I said, okay, Mia, this man is such a control freak and he's such a horrible person, but yet you're on Instagram now alluding to you guys possibly getting back together and being a big happy family. Got it. So now we see a clip from yesterday, and we see Mia talking to the ladies about how Gordon doesn't even believe that she's on this trip with them. He thinks that she's on a trip with Ink. And Karen's facial expressions were mine, because Karen was rolling her eyes like, girl, nobody wants to hear this. We don't care. And I said, Karen, you and I are right here about that. Now we see Mia and Jacqueline go into the bathroom where Mia is fake crying. Now, was it just me? But did anybody else have secondhand embarrassment watching Mia fake cry like that? She was like, I said, girl, stop. I say this respectfully, but it's time for you to go and see the lady. And speaking of going to see the lady, this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. What do you want your 2025 story to be? Every January brings you 365 blank pages waiting to be filled. In 2025, maybe you're ready for a plot twist, or maybe there's a part of your story you've been wanting to revise. Life isn't about resolutions that fade by February. It's about picking up the pen and becoming the author of your own life. Think of therapy as your editorial partner, helping you write new chapters and create the meaningful story you deserve to live. And if you've been watching me for any length of time, then you know that I am a huge advocate for therapy. I think that therapy is that girl, okay? And it's not just for people who have experienced major traumas. I think that therapy is for everybody. It just helps me put things in perspective. It's like a tune-up, if you will. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. Access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. Easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. Write your story with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Brooke today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Brooke. Once again, a very special thank you to BetterHelp, and you can find all the information down below in the description box. But while Mia's doing all this fake crying, giving us these theatrics, we have Jacqueline on the phone. I think she was on the phone with Mia's former nanny's daughter. I don't know. They had blurred out the name, so I was confused. But Jacqueline's on the phone with somebody to confirm that the kids are safe and sound. But we find out that the kids are with this woman's mom. Mia and Jacqueline are relieved. And I know it's not just me, but I don't believe this story for a minute. I believe that Mia knew exactly where they were, and she just wanted a moment. But Mia gives us the backstory on the woman who's watching her kids. She says that she was her previous nanny. She's been with the family since her firstborn Joshua was a baby, and how she was the mother of the bride in her wedding because her bio mom was incarcerated. So she goes on to say that her and this woman are super close, and that's pretty much family, but it's still foul that Gordon did that, not telling her where the kids are. And I'm not a parent, so I don't want to speak out of turn, but for all the parents out there, would you mind letting me know if I'm crazy? Because my first thought was, if you were so concerned about your kids and where they were, why wouldn't you call them and FaceTime them and say, hey guys, how are you doing? Like, I don't know. I thought it was weird. All that carrying on, and now it's like, okay, well, they're good. You know, it's great. So now we see all the ladies on the Sprinter van, and Wendy's giving them the rundown for the day. So she says, we're going to have some fun today, shopping, eating, and the rum bar. So now we have Karen interject, and she says that last night was overwhelming, but they didn't get a chance to interrogate Kiana about her relationship with Greg. Now, it's no shade. I love Kiana, but does anybody care about Kiana's relationship with Greg? I know I don't. I was unaware that anybody was that invested in their relationship, but apparently Karen and these ladies want to know. So we have Kiana smiling, and she's like, I just love Greg, you know, my man, my man, my man. She just loves him down, honey. And she says that she FaceTimed him earlier, and he told her that he missed her a lot and that he's having pizza for breakfast. So now Karen's like, okay, girl, that's cute, but what's the update? So Kiana says, well, you guys know the story. I met Greg a month after he got divorced. Now, I was thinking, Kiana, that's usually a recipe for disaster. Getting with a man fresh out of a divorce. I just feel like there are so many red flags in their relationship. And another thing, why are you promoting his business more than your med spa? We saw more of your med spa last season when you were a friend of the show. We've barely seen it this season. But Kiana goes on to say that in this time frame, she had also gone through some changes herself because she had just opened up her med spa and closed down her salon. So she was trying to find herself, find a new identity. And then she says that their first year together, it was a bit of a struggle. But then she goes on to say that in their second year together, it feels like that's my person. And that's why they decided to build a house together. Now, Kiana, I don't understand why you're building a house with a boyfriend. You're not even engaged to this man. And I get the impression that Greg is not trying to get remarried anytime soon. And it also feels like he's dangling this ring like it's a carrot. Because when you were in the clubhouse, on Watch What Happens Live, when Andy asked you and Greg about the engagement plans, I didn't love Greg's answer. I think he said that we have to work towards that. And then you're talking about sprinkle, sprinkle. I said, girl, what? What does this man mean that you guys have to work towards that? Personally, I've just never had a desire to live with a man that I'm not married to. That has never been appealing to me ever. To each their own. Like, it's no judgment. But Kiana goes on to say that the house will be done in the next 4 to 5 weeks. So, again, Kiana, God bless. I hope it all works out. And if you are back next season, I hope that we see the house. So now we see Gizelle talking to Karen, and she brings up what Ray told her at their Love Lagoon party. So she says, Ray mentioned that you gave him a list of things in order for the love to be alive in your marriage. So Karen says that one of them is opening her door for her because when they first got together, he did that all the time. And then she says that he started doing it again. And now Gizelle's like, oh, so is that it? And Karen says, no, it's a few other things too. And we find out that it's Ray going down on her. Now, do I want that visual of Ray and Karen? No, I don't. But you know what? I'll take that over Mia and Gordon. So Karen jokes around saying that he does that better than opening the door. And I said, well, girl, I would hope so. So we know how nosy Gizelle is because she's asking Karen if Karen is returning the favor. And Karen says, no, I cut that off. So now you have Jacqueline questioning Karen. And she says, really, Karen, you don't do that? And Karen says, no, I don't. Now, remember, back in season 5, Karen told you that she retired her mouth when Ray had all those tax issues. And she had to come up off of $500,000 of her own money to help bail him out. So the Grande Dame retired her jersey, okay? I'm not going to hold you. Gizelle had me screaming because she says, what does Ray have to do to get a slob knob? So we cut to Karen's confessional and she's talking about, girl, we're too old for that. Talking about slobbing knobs, like, stop it. Then she says, Gizelle, you're 3 years behind me, like, stop. Now, Karen, I'm going to just say this. I'm going to need you to stop acting like Ray is not there for you because the way that man soldiered up and was willing to take the fall for you the night of your DUI, that man was talking to the police, trying to cover for you. He did not want to see his wife go to jail. So just remember that, Thomas Jefferson's concubine, okay?
I am Thomas Jefferson's concubine. And I own half of the nation.
So now we see Jacqueline talking to Ashley, and she brings up the whole mess that went down earlier that morning with Mia not knowing where her kids were. So Ashley's like, wait, what? Did she call the police? And Jacqueline says no, but she was having a panic attack. So now we cut to Ashley's confessional, and she says, the fear that I would feel if I didn't know where my kids were, I'm just not understanding how Mia can sit there all calm and collected like that. And I said, Ashley, the reason why Mia is calm about this whole thing is because she's lying. So Ashley goes on to say that nothing else matters unless she knows where her kids are. And then she says, are they happy? Are they healthy? Are they safe? And if I don't know those things, you wouldn't see me. So now they're in the city and they're gonna do some shopping. I love the architecture. It looked beautiful. We see the churches and the statues. And when I tell y'all, I want to go to Panama. Like, Panama is on my list. But I loved at one point, they were walking to the hat shop. And as they're walking, Wendy's getting hit on. And Wendy's like, oh, yes, honey. When the Godiva goddess steps through, it's always a situation. I said, exactly, girl. I said, let them know. And Wendy looked so good. The outfit, I said, yes, ma'am. Now we see the ladies split up into 2 groups, and we see Mia, Stacey, Ashley, Jacqueline, and Kiana in one gift shop, and then we see Gizelle, Karen, and Wendy at the hat shop. Now, the three of them were having a cute time. They're trying on hats, being silly, and I love the whole vibe. And when I tell you we have truly come a long way on this cast, because Karen and Gizelle go off to the side to buy Wendy and her daughter Cam a hat. And I just said, wow. From Gizelle saying that she was happy to see Wendy get assaulted in season 7. Then last season, she was always rolling her eyes at Wendy. She was trying to jump on the whole witchcraft bandwagon with NECA. And now to see her buying a hat for Wendy and her daughter and complimenting her, I said I never thought that I would see the day. But here we are, and I'm happy for it. But Jazelle, I still have my critiques about your behavior and you letting Mia off the hook so easily, okay? So just stay tuned for that, because I have some choice words for you as we get on to the last scene of the episode. So now we jump over to Ashley, Mia, Kiana, and Stacey at the gift shop, and we have Ashley questioning Mia about why wasn't she at breakfast this morning, and Mia says that she was finding her kids. So Ashley reveals that Jacqueline already told her this stuff in the Sprinter van, and then she says, did Gordon just drop them off? So here's why I'm gonna always maintain that Mia is just somebody who cannot tell the truth. She tells Ashley that Gordon came to pick up the kids from Jacqueline's house, and then he drove them 4 hours to Virginia, and now they're all in Martha's Vineyard. I said, wait, what? So you now have Mia talking about, well, she's glad that they're there because the kids are having a great time. They went swimming. Jeremiah caught a fish. So Mia, what you won't do is play in my face and play on my intelligence. No, ma'am. I believe that you knew all about this trip to Martha's Vineyard, because I'm willing to bet that this was already a vacation that had been planned months before. Because let's be so for real. For all of us who know, we know. Martha's Vineyard is not that kind of place where you can just pop up and you just go there. You guys had already paid for a rental months in advance. You already knew about this trip. I want to hear from you guys. Are we on the same page about my thoughts regarding Mia and this whole story about now they're in Martha's Vineyard? Because I'm telling you right now, you don't just go to Martha's Vineyard on a whim. Especially not in the summertime, not during peak season. I'm sorry. Ashley clocked it because she said, I'm sympathetic towards Mia, but at the same time, there have been so many discrepancies in her story, especially as it pertains to Gordon. And she's right. It has been one lie after another lie after another lie this entire season. Well, Mia's been lying since she got on this show, but specifically season 9, it's out of control. A quick side note, this confessional look of Ashley's, this is your best look to date. I said, girl, you did that. So here's where things go left. Ashley says, well, I had no idea that you were having that kind of morning, but I did wake up feeling a type of way about a few things that you said a few weeks ago, along with what you said last night at dinner and how you doubled down on what you said. So Ashley continues on by saying that Mia crossed a line and went too far. And the biggest slap in the face was that not only did she double down on what she said, but the fact that she wasn't even apologetic or remorseful for saying what she said about Gizelle's girls. Now let me pause for a minute, because we all know the story. After the last episode aired, a story came out alleging that Mia called Gizelle's daughters whores. On top of that, everybody was shocked, and Gizelle and Mia both begged production to cut that out, because Gizelle did not want her daughters to hear a grown-ass adult calling them that. And then Mia obviously knew that she would get so much backlash and vitriol from the fans, so she also begged for production to cut that out as well. My point in bringing that whole story up is that's most likely what Ashley is referring to when she's calling Mia out about doubling down on what she said at last night's dinner. Mia, your response to Ashley was out of order. For you to say, well, I'm going through a lot right now and I really don't give an F. Are you serious right now? The fact that you can justify calling somebody's children that, there's something wrong. But Ashley is annoyed and she says, look, I don't know how to show up for you, Mia. And Mia says, then don't. So Ashley's like, okay, girl, say less. So she leaves the store and she says that being friends with Mia is exhausting. And I said, girl, you're just finding this out now? You just realized that? I wasn't here for Mia trying to fish for sympathy because you have her talking about, oh, my heart is racing right now. So now you have Stacey consoling her. I said, Stacey, Mia knows what she's doing. And then when Stacey went on to say that Ashley is tearing Mia down, I said, girl, who cares about Mia? And the way Mia has shown her behind and torn other people down throughout the years, I don't care. So now we're back at the hat shop and Gizelle is talking about Mia. And she says, I know she's going through a lot right now, but that's no excuse. And then for her to double down on what she said. So now Wendy goes on to say, oh, Gizelle, you're better than me because I would have cleared that whole table that night. Now, Dr. Wendy, love you down, girl. But I don't know if I believe that because there have been many a times where I felt like you should have cleared everybody and you didn't do that. When Mia went upside your head and threw that drink on you in season 7, I was waiting for you to clear that table and you didn't. And I understand that you were trying to maintain your class and dignity, but there have been quite a few times where I felt like you've gone too easy on people. So I don't know if I believe that you would have cleared had Mia done that to you. I just don't know about that. But we do see Gizelle and Karen give Wendy the hats that they bought her. And now they walk on over to the rum shop for the rum tasting. Now, I love a good rum tasting, wine tasting, tequila tasting. I'm here for all of it. So they're at the rum tasting. And mind you, Karen is not participating. She orders a ginger ale. I said, Karen, girl, we saw the footage. Just go on and get you some rum. We really haven't heard a peep from Karen since the footage came out. Do we think that Karen is going to attend the reunion in a few days? Yes or no? I want to hear from you guys, but there's a part of me that feels like Karen might skip out and she'll do like a one-on-one with Andy later on after her sentencing. I don't know, but I'm curious to find out if Karen does attend this reunion on Thursday. We'll see. But Miss Karen, you're not fooling anybody with this constant ginger ale order. So you have Wendy pointing out that Karen's not drinking. And now Jacqueline says, I mean, Karen, it's not like we're driving anywhere. I said, now, Jacqueline, you low-key ate that one little thing, girl. You don't normally eat any other time, but you definitely did clear just a little bit because I was gagged. Karen was also gagged because she was like, bitch. Karen was pissed. But she is right, Karen. You're not driving anywhere. You might as well have some rum, girl. And you low-key told on yourself in the confessional because you have Karen talking about, I don't have to be sober. I'm just not drinking with these women. And then she goes on to say that they're making up all these elaborate stories about how they're so proud of her sobriety. And then she says, girl, who said I was sober? I said, Karen, you might not want to say that out loud. And also, Karen, none of us are fooled. We know that when those cameras are off, you're still pouring up. Like, we're not dumb. So they start the wine tasting. I think they had about 3 or 4 rums. I love a good rum, like I said a few minutes ago. Then we see some food come out. And when I tell you guys, my mouth was watering because that food looked amazing. But I like when they're all getting along, having fun, because they're playing a game where they're all imitating each other. So we see Kiana imitating Stacey. We see Wendy imitating Jazelle. They're imitating Karen. I mean, it was cute. Stacey had me in tears when she was imitating Ashley dancing.
And Karen is literally like, are you done? This is Ashley.
Come on, really?
Stacey, if you want to do a TikTok, just say that.
Even though Stacey is trolling us with this whole TJ storyline, she is a good addition. I'm loving the quirkiness. I like the ditziness. She's just right. So now the group starts imitating Kiana and how she's always talking about Greg. So now Mia's asking her what's the best date she's ever been on. And Kiana says when they first got together, Greg took her on a trip to the Bahamas. And now you have Gizelle chiming in saying that that's the best way to do it, getting it out of the way early to find out if you guys can travel together. So now she tells a story of how years ago she was dating a man, they went to Puerto Rico, and it was clear that they did not like each other, and he left her there. And then she says that before he left, she said, you better pay that bill. So she says he paid the bill, went home, and then she goes on to say that he still wants to get with her now. And I said, Jazelle, I don't even know how that man still has access to you. Why is he still calling you? Like, you left me in Puerto Rico. You are blocked on every device, okay? But then again, these men are crazy and they will get a new number to still reach out to you. So I could actually see that. But that whole story is a mess. So now you have Jacqueline saying, or they only last for 5 seconds. So they're like, oh, really, Jacqueline? You got it like that? So Jacqueline says, oh, yeah, girl, I got that WAP. So now she goes on to say that Mia would know all about it. I said, Jacqueline, girl, you are so desperate. Girl, you talking about you got that WAP, but yet you're still over here clinging on to Mr. PP, who doesn't want you. So I don't know how great the WAP is. And the way you act so possessive over Mia, again, girl, I'm not buying it. So now we get into Ashley asking Jacqueline about, is it true that she also slept with Ink too? Was that the boyfriend that Mia let her share? Jacqueline is playing coy. She says, no, it wasn't him. Then she says, I don't remember. I'm like, both Mia and Jacqueline are so thirsty for a moment. And this whole entire storyline about them hooking up, sharing boyfriends, we've already talked about this. Why are we still bringing it up? Nobody cares. So now you have Jacqueline saying that this was over 20 years ago. And Jazelle says, no surprise here because Ink is a Lunchable. You get a cracker, you get a piece of ham. He's for the streets. And I said, Jazelle, you would also know because your ex-husband was also for the streets as well. He was for the streets and the church. But Mia clears it up and says that it wasn't Ink, it was Ink's best friend. And that Jacqueline and Ink did share a moment of foreplay because back in the day, they took a shower together. Again, I don't care. And if I'm being honest with you, I don't even believe it. For some reason, I just get the impression that Mia and Jacqueline aren't as freaky as they want us to believe. I just get the impression that they both say salacious things because they know that it will get the people going. And even though Jacqueline does act like a very jealous lover when it comes to Mia, there's still a part of me that feels like maybe they've messed around 1 or 2 times, but it's not as many times as they would have you to believe. Just my opinion. But you have Jacqueline ending the conversation by saying that they were finding themselves, and what better way to find yourself than with your best friend. Again, Jacqueline, we don't care. I know that you want to give us a Brazzers or Pornhub tea, but again, the rest of us, we're over this whole storyline. Give us something else. So now Wendy informs them that she's made reservations at a really nice restaurant in the city and that they only have about an hour to get changed. Now, mind you, their hotel is 2 hours away, so they're changing in the bathroom stalls at the Rum Bar. And Miss Karen was not pleased because she says, I have to strip butt naked in a bathroom stall, really? And I said, Karen, it is what it is, girl. Just go along with it. You'll be okay. So now they're on the Sprinter van on their way to dinner, and we have Mia in the back on FaceTime with Ink. I said this woman has called and FaceTimed everybody except for her children that she claims that she was so worried about. got it. But she's on FaceTime talking about, oh, baby, I can't wait to see you and give you some Panama P. I might have to go and see you when the plane touches down. When I tell you, I said, girl, you did all that fake crying and dry heaving over your kids, and you're talking about going to see ink before your children? Are you okay? Stacey even said, girl, go home and see your kids. Ink can wait. And I said, exactly. And Mia, that excuse that you gave was so weak because you're talking about, oh, my oldest son Joshua is 16. He lives in Atlanta and that's where ink is as well. And all my kids are good. I said, girl, whatever makes you sleep at night, you got it. I'm not going to argue with your pea brain logic, but I'm just confused as to how you can think about visiting ink after you made that fuss about not knowing where your kids were. Wouldn't you want to see them? Stacey's on FaceTime with TJ. I guess TJ was shirtless because Stacey was like, oh my gosh, you know, I was not expecting that. I barely see him without his shirt. I said, Stacey, can you please leave us alone with this storyline? This is a fake romance. This is a way to get TJ's name back out into the acting streets and for you to have a storyline on this show. But please stop playing in our faces because this romance is not real. TJ doesn't even like you. Let's start there. So they're at the restaurant, and I have to say, Wendy did a great job because the restaurant was gorgeous. But anyhow, they're all seated, and Wendy orders a round of tequila shots for the table. And Wendy gives a toast to Panama, liberation, and continued friendship and growth. Now, Miss Stacey, you guys just got to the restaurant. You just sat down, took a shot. Why are you bringing up Kiana's court case? I said, girl, I see you. And you are not low, but I respect it. But anyhow, Stacey says, Kiana, can I ask you something? What's going on? Because I was reading some stuff in the news about you. How are things coming along? So now Kiana explains that the case has been pushed back. So as she's explaining things, we have Jazelle off to the side and she's confused. She's like, wait, what? What case? And I said, Jazelle, surely you did not forget what took place at your GNA fashion show last season? Why are we acting like we forgot? But Jazelle makes it clear that she's confused and she wants to know what Kiana is talking about. So Kiana says, I'm suing Deborah. And Jazelle, this was real nasty work in my opinion. When you said, oh, that's still a thing. I said, is that still a thing? She was hit upside her head and she was left with a scar on her forehead. Are you serious right now? I just hate the way Jazelle is so dismissive of other people's issues. It drives me insane because I can assure you that if Jazelle were the one who had been attacked and assaulted, she would be raising all sorts of hell. We would not hear the end of it. Have some compassion. And Miss Kiana cleared. She said, it's going to always be a thing for me. I said, exactly. Let them know.
Let them know, Greg.
Oh, I can show a
Honk the
picture.
horn on their ass.
Doot, doot.
Boop, boop. Bam.
Kiana continues on by saying that she has to live with that scar every day of her life and she wants justice. And once again, Kiana, absolutely. And I hope you do receive justice. So now Jazelle wants to know if it's a criminal or civil case, and Kiana says one criminal and one civil. And now Jazelle says, well, you know she's broke, and Kiana was me. She said, well, I don't care about that. That's not my problem. I said, exactly. You can attack somebody, and then when they sue your behind, now you want to holler out about how you're broke? Next time, keep your hands to yourself. But Kay makes it clear that she's going to keep pursuing justice. It is what it is, and she wants to move on. And I said, again, I'm 110% on Kiana's side about this, and I hope that she gets every single dollar from Deborah. Even if it's only $5, because we know that she's broke, but I hope that she gets that too. And did anybody clock how Ashley remained silent during this conversation? I said, Ashley knows better. Because Miss Ashley, you need to be happy that Kiana didn't also sue you. So I said, yes, girl, keep quiet. Keep that mouth shut. So now we changed gears in the conversation, and Wendy's asking Kiana, Mia, Ashley, and Jacqueline how was their shopping day because they were at the gift shop while her, Karen, and Gizelle were at the hat shop. So Kianas says, well, shopping was fun for 2 seconds until Ashley left. So Ashley jumps in and says that it was overwhelming for her. And now you have Mia being sarcastic and she says, oh, it was overwhelming for you? And I said, Mia, girl, stop. So now we have Stacey jumping in to defend Mia. And she says, well, I know that it was overwhelming for Mia too this morning. And then she says, Mia, I know that you didn't tell everybody, but you also had a rough morning as well. So Mia says, you're right, I had a horrible morning, and it was all because I couldn't locate my kids. So now she's telling everybody the whole story of how Gordon drove the kids 4 hours south, and then they're in Martha's Vineyard, and how it took everything in her to not get her ass on a plane and go see them. So everybody's shocked to hear this, and Karen's like, have you spoken to your kids? And Mia says, I have, and they're good. So now Wendy jumps in and says, Mia, may I just say this? As your friend, my concern is for your children, and I know that you think that you're doing the best thing for them, but I honestly feel like him being around is not the best thing. When it comes to Mia and all of her affairs, stay out of it. Mia's not trying to hear anybody out or take any sound advice, so save your breath. So now we have Mia with more of the fake tears, and she's like, but what do I do? Because how do I tell a judge that he's unfit when he's never harmed the kids? I don't want to talk about this anymore, y'all. I feel like I'm a broken record saying the same thing. I don't care about this storyline. That's just the long and the short of it. I don't know why we're entertaining this. It's not interesting, it's not entertaining, it's not amusing, it's not funny, it's just sad. She's exploiting her children for a check. And yes, I'm well aware that the vast majority of this cast really don't have storylines this season, but what we're not going to do is look to Mia to carry everybody on her back with this sorry mess that she calls a storyline. I don't want to hear anything more about this. I don't. And what gets me more annoyed is the fact that at this reunion, Mia is going to be sitting there telling more lies. We're not going to get any closure on anything. I just don't want to hear this anymore. Mia has overplayed her hand. She thought that this storyline was more interesting than it really is. We checked out 10 episodes ago. I was officially done around episode 7. When they had that 3-way conversation between her, Gordon, and Ink, and you have Gordon outing how she had an abortion. Enough is enough. We do see Karen asking Mia if she has custody of the kids. Mia says she does. And then Karen shares a story of how something similar happened to her when her son Brandon was younger, and her ex-husband took him for a joyride, and she drove 3 hours trying to locate her son. So now we have Jazelle jumping into the conversation, and she brings up what happened last night with Mia doubling down on the horrible things that she said about her daughters. So Mia says that she apologized to Jazelle, and Jazelle says, well, you did that off camera. And I'm just confused because if you actually meant the apology, you would have done it at the table when the cameras were on. And now you have Mia being a smartass, and she's like, well, I'm sorry that you put parameters on apologies. And I said, Mia, just own up to what you've done. Calling somebody's teenage daughters whores deserves multiple apologies, on camera and off camera, period. But Jazelle, let me just say this. I just find it a bit fascinating that you are still giving Mia a lot of grace. Because had this been Wendy who said that about your children, you would not even speak to her. You would be demanding that she was fired on the spot. You would have everybody trying to ice her out. So I find it a bit strange that at this dinner, you're still able to talk to her. Earlier at the rum tasting, you were joking around with her. It's just weird to me. It feels like your anger is only reserved for certain people. But the rest of this conversation was just a bunch of nothing. Mia's crying and carrying on about how she's sick and tired of being under a microscope. I said, Mia, shut up. You're not the victim. You are a willing participant in the madness. But she goes on to say that her life is wild and crazy and she's being authentic. I said, no, you're not. Of course, Jacqueline feels the need to be Mia's lawyer. She's jumping in, defending Mia. And she says, I know that you guys are concerned for her, but you guys are also adding a layer of stress. Stop blaming the group for Mia's issues. These issues are all because of Mia. Nobody is stressing Mia out. Mia is stressing her own self out. And I was blown away when Jacqueline said that they're turning up the heat on Mia and how she's been the topic of conversation. I said, no, ma'am, we will not do that. Mia has been bringing up her situation every chance she gets. Mia has been trying to force herself to be the topic of conversation. Let's be very clear on that. Don't act like the group is just talking about her just because. They're talking about her because Mia keeps inserting her situation into every conversation. Mia is the one who wants this attention. And now you have Karen saying that Jacqueline, once again, has made a fool of herself. And I said, well, Jacqueline just can't help that. She is determined to be the clown every single time. So Mia says that she's here on this trip to celebrate liberation and they're all miserable bitches. So Gizelle's like, girl, who's miserable? I'm happy. I'm good. I'm free. So Karen's like, girl, it's not me. I'm just fine.
Here to celebrate liberation.
Yes.
And there's no liberation going on at this table.
Yes, it is.
Okay? It's a bunch of miserable bitches. Okay?
I'm not miserable. Who's miserable?
Don't talk about me.
But Wendy clocks Mia and says, girl, that's how those 613 girls be. So Stacey's confused and she's like, wait, what's 613? Like what? And Wendy explains that that's a shade of blonde. And when I tell you, Stacey had me screaming. Stacey says, oh, okay. I thought it was an area code, but I will say the only person who needs to be wearing 613 is Karen, because Mia is a goddess as a brunette and Ashley, girl, stop. And I said, exactly, because I have said repeatedly that this 613 washes Mia out. But yeah, the only person in this group who needs to go that blonde is Karen and Karen only. And did anybody hear how Gizelle tried to clock Mia? She said, oh yeah, you had that blonde on when you were a stripper. So Mia owns it and she says, yup, I haven't been blonde since I was an entertainer. And I'm sure that that same 613 blonde that you were wearing as a stripper looked terrible too. But I mean, you got Gordon, so, but Gordon is no prize. So that's all you could get with that blonde wig. But we close out the episode with Karen saying that Mia has a lot of work to do in this group and it's up to her to make it right. And that's where we end things. Y'all, they can wrap this season up because not much is happening except for Mia and this whole storyline between her, Ink, and Gordon and the kids. And I don't want to hear about this. We spent all episode focused on Mia. And that's not a good episode, in my opinion. But y'all, we are back. I'm excited. I'm energized. And I will see you all later for Beverly Hills and Salt Lake City later on this week. But again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.